Hey Vince.
Hey, Carl.
Can I ask you something quick?
Yeah.
So, I've been reading in Romans at the moment, and I've got to chapter 9, which is on God's sovereign choice. And as Paul's writing, I got to verse 13, and I've hit quite a block. So, as it is written, Jacob I loved, but Esau I hated. Vince, what did I just read?
Yeah, I think it's very difficult to understand. I've read some commentaries on this before, and guys would say what God is really saying was more about choice and rather than about emotion. So it wasn't as if he was saying, like, I love Jacob because he's just so special to me, and emotionally I hate Jacob, or Esau, he just irritates me. It is much more about choice, and I think each of them represented a people group. So Jacob represented Israel, which would become God's people. Esau represented the Edomites, which would become a people that were the enemies of God, of God's people as well. So also, you have to take into consideration sort of like who was Jacob and who was Esau. And, you know, they were twin brothers born from the same parents. But it seems that the one had a hard heart and the other one had a soft heart towards God and his blessings. And so Esau, as you remember, he despised his birthright. And so when you think about it like that, something so special, God gives him, in a sense, as the firstborn out of the twins. He was supposed to get this birthright, but he didn't care about it, and he sold it for a bowl of soup. And it just seems that the Lord despised him for that hardness of heart, for not caring about it. And yet, you contrast Jacob, even although Jacob was a pretty sly fellow, he really wanted God's blessing, and he did anything possible to get it.
Yeah.
I don't think we could say, like, just the English words hate and love, that, you know, maybe God loves some people and he hates other people. It's more about, you know, the condition of their hearts. So Esau clearly didn't, you know, put any effort into what God is trying to do in his life. And I think that just that hardness of heart, and I think many people are like this today as well, where they don't really care. They're hard. And God's got so much for them, but they don't really care. And in that sense, it's like God, I think the better word possibly would be God rejects them. He rejected Esau and the Edomites, actually, who sort of took on his nature. But Jacob and the Israelite people, God loved. And even although they made many mistakes, the Israelites made many mistakes and actually were punished by God at times, God at one point pushed them out of the promised land because of their mistakes. Yet God restores them back to the land because ultimately Jacob was the one who loved God's blessing. And even although he messed up, he tried to find it again. He wrestled with God and won. And God really loved that. So I think that's the context for me of Jacob I've loved and Esau I've hated.
Short, Vince. That makes a lot more sense.
I hope it does,
Yeah, I appreciate you explaining.
Cool.